Lisbon Treaty, I think the first thing you will need to understand, it's like an amendment to previous treaties. The European Union was founded on treaties in the mid-50s, treaties of Rome, treaties of Paris, and all the treaties that have occurred after that, the Maastricht Treaty and now the Lisbon Treaty, are simply amendments to cope with two things really. One, the European Union is expanding and has taken on now 27 member states, and it therefore needs to adjust its structures to, having so many new member states. And also two, it needs to adjust its institutions, the Parliament and the Council, and its voting systems, in order to again adjust it to the new number, the higher number of member states. So I don't think fundamentally it's like an entirely new treaty. I think it's an adjustment, it's an amendment to take into account what's been happening since the fall of the Berlin Wall, basically. It's kind of it's a mechanical treaty. It doesn't change many fundamental things. It puts into place some new institutions, some new players, but essentially it's an amendment of already existing legislation. I think for the same reasons that the Maastricht Treaty and other treaties were problematic, because when you change the voting systems inside the European Union, and this treaty is doing that, is changing the voting systems, you touch on issues of national sovereignty, you touch on issues of national power in a way, and countries are always specifically worried about giving away power to a supranational organization. The EU is a supranational organization. Each new treaty gives a little bit more majority voting to the EU. So national vetoes will fall away, will become less important. And of course in some countries like the UK, like Denmark, some Scandinavian countries, that will clash with feelings of national identity, because there will be the feeling that we shouldn't give away the power over perhaps fiscal matters or security matters to Brussels. On the other hand, you could argue though that by doing this, by giving away a little bit of power, we make the running of the entire EU easier. But there will, I think, always be the debate about, powers in Europe and national powers. I think, this is my personal opinion, I think they could have chosen a more high-profile person or high-profile persons. The president, the former Prime Minister of Belgium, well, you could argue, Belgium is at the heart of Europe and Brussels is the capital of Europe, so perhaps it was a good choice to strengthen the credentials of Belgium or of Brussels as the seat of most institutions. But I certainly was surprised by this choice, certainly by the British choice. If you compare that to the person who was in office before, Mr. Solana, who used to lead NATO, who used to be quite a high-profile person, it seems to me that this choice underscores that Europe hasn't reached its potential yet, really. Certainly not if Europe wants to be, a serious actor on the world stage. I think it should have chosen more high-profile candidates.